Luigi, I always thought I was a good project manager. Is this the right role for me? There I was, sitting at lunch with my former boss, Luigi. He's the one that I'd worked with most of my time at Woodward and had since gone on to a new role. After I was fired from my job as a project manager, I really started to question myself. And here's how Luigi responded. Diana, you're a great project manager. What I want to know is, where were those people that should have been looking out for you, speaking up for you? I was thinking of the problem as a skills problem, and Luigi helped me realize it was a network problem. The next year, I heard Patty Azzarello speak at the Project Managers Conference. She made a similar point that often we focus on doing a good job and assume that we'll be taken care of. She said, really successful people are successful because they get a lot of help, not because they are so good on their own that they don't need help. Really successful people are successful because they get a lot of help, not because they are so good on their own that they don't need help. The German independent farmer family culture I grew up in taught me everyone should pull their own weight. Years of school taught me success was finding the right answers by myself. And the work world taught me that I had to prove myself capable to succeed. I was not well equipped to be vulnerable and ask for help. Now, I'm great at learning new things. I love to read books, listen to speakers. I enjoy being part of mastermind groups like this Toastmasters Club, where we all support each other and give each other feedback and help each other. I really enjoyed the mentor coaching that I got when I hired someone to be my mentor coach as part of renewing my coaching certification. These are all really good ways to develop myself. But I have also limited myself by not developing a mentor network. And part of this is because I don't want to be a burden on others. Have you ever felt that? Not wanting to ask other people because you might be a burden? David Lambertson is one of my mentors who actually helped me a lot in this area. After I lost my job, I knew I needed to reach out to other people for help. And David was a member of my Toastmasters Club who invited me to spend some time talking to him about networking. David knew that I, like a lot of people, was reluctant to impose, to take time from others. He asked me, when was the last time someone told you they appreciated you? People love to be told that they're making a difference. How often do you think they hear that at work? Or even at home? Maybe once a week? Once a month? When you invite someone to share their perspective, and you tell them how much their time and opinion means to you, it makes them feel good. Your appreciation might be the biggest gift they receive all week. David helped me realize that asking people for time is not imposing. Now, for many of us, if you're like me, you find it easier to be in a mentor role, to share your wisdom and your experience with others, than to ask someone else to mentor us. Sometimes I think we get stuck looking for the perfect person. We have to find that person that is our ideal in every aspect of their life to be our mentor. Patty Azzarella pointed out there are 5 kinds of mentors that we can look for, and each brings different things. Some mentors help you expand your imagination of what's possible. Other mentors can help bring you the reality of the real world. A third type of mentor brings you those connections, introducing you to people you wouldn't otherwise meet. A fourth type of mentor helps you learn when you're looking for a specific skill. A fifth type of mentor brings you air cover, the person who will speak up for you in conversations when you aren't there, which is what Luigi had pointed out I did not have. Patty suggests looking for people in all of 5 different categories. Someone who is doing a job you want to do in the future. Someone who's at a higher level in your company. Someone who's 15 years older than you. Someone who's in their 20s. And someone who is doing your same job either in a bigger scope or in a completely different industry. Patty suggests finding one new mentor every year. Now, I'm no longer in the corporate world, so finding an air cover mentor is not something I need to do. Right now, I'm focused more on mentoring with my skills in coaching. That's the thing I'm developing. What kind of mentor would serve you right now? Imagination, reality, connections, learning, air cover? Who could you reach out to as a mentor? Because asking for help is not imposing. It can be an honor. Really successful people are successful because they get a lot of help, not because they're so good on their own that they don't need help.
Thank you. And let's return our minute on the clock so we can summarize our thoughts for Diana. All right, help me welcome Sarah Beasley.
Great job on the speech, Diana. This is one of the more difficult speeches, I think, to give because you really have to think outside of the box on how you want to talk about mentoring. It can be a very dry subject at times, and I think you brought a lot of life to it, so I appreciated that. There were 2 things that stuck out for me right away in your speech. The first one was on the quote that you used, and it was the one about asking for help. You used it right away, you repeated it, and then you also repeated it at the end. And that really helped make it stick through the speech, and I was able to apply that to what you were saying during the speech. I also liked how you used a softer voice to show that vulnerability when you were talking about being a burden. It was almost a different persona, and it was very relatable because I come from that same position as well. I love the content that was in there, having the 5 different kinds of mentors and those 5 different categories. It was very great information for us to have. It was just hard to remember. So I think having maybe a handout, just so we can remember those top key points, would really help, and something that we can reference on later. And then one other thing, I think that would really enhance this speech would be to have examples of where to find these different mentors. We know what to look for in a mentor, we know what different qualities to look for and how they can help us, but where do we find them? Is it just within our one specific network? Is it going out to a job? Is it looking in personal information? So just knowing kind of little tidbits on maybe some of your experience on where you found those different types of mentors, I think would just take that speech to one other level. But it was really great all the way through, and I loved the information that you just packed into this speech because it was extremely relatable and it's something that we can all apply into our normal lives. So thank you for presenting that. And with that, let's open it up for everyone else's suggestions. Linda.
One of the things I really loved was how authentic your conversation was. You had shared with us before that you get the speech voice, and you did not do that at all. I really felt like you were talking to me and we were connecting and having a conversation, so I thought that was fabulous. And I loved how vulnerable you let yourself be. And we mentioned that you were fired. I'm assuming that that's not a happy experience for anyone. That you seem to take that experience and learn from it and not let that bring you down. I really appreciated that. The repetition of your key message. One little tiny thing is after your conclusion, you very quickly said, Mr. Toastmaster got off the stage. I wanted a moment to let that conclusion kind of just sit with that conclusion just for a moment before you dashed away.
Thank you. Who else has something to add? Yeah, Janet.
I just want to piggyback on what Linda said because I had the exact same comment. You were very vulnerable up there, and I really appreciated that because in allowing yourself to be vulnerable by speaking to us, you were able to teach us about the importance of being vulnerable. And I just wanted to point that out. I hope you can appreciate that. And that's a hard place to get to for a lot of people, especially very high-functioning, capable, responsible people, which I imagine you are. So thank you for that.
I liked it as well. I think the initial conversation pulled me into the moment. I was a little confused by the timeline. Was this after the firing or was this before the firing? I think that's an area that you could kind of look at a little bit closer. I liked how you presented some of the conflict. You know, in school we're taught that we should do things on our own, but yet here's this concept that we need a lot of people to help us. I think I build that more, show more of the conflict, the internal conflict that you have with it. Also, if it was really a firing, show us really that more of the emotion on that side and what it did to you and how it prevented you from approaching people to be a mentor and build more on that aspect of being a burden on people. I think those are key pieces to that whole setup for you.
I thought that the way you shared vulnerably and was really helpful to get to the next place where you give us very approachable truths. There are things that I resonate with, and oh yeah, I felt that, and yeah, sure enough, we're kind of set up to not be the way that's really the most helpful. And I thought you really reinforced it in a way with your own personal experience and made these for other people. I also like your pauses to digest. You gave pauses throughout. Sometimes you were reading, but it was just in the right place for me to think, huh, I was thinking about myself.
I like the introduction using dialogues with your ex-coworker for mentoring. And then also you gave another example as you got into the body. But I thought if you had paused at the very beginning before you started having conversation, that might have been more effective. Also, you asked a lot of questions during the speech, but you answered by yourself. So I thought about giving us questions, even gave us opportunity to answer one of your questions, that might have been more effective for the audience. Get involved in your speech more effectively. One other thing that I thought about as Reed did, you gave us quite a few examples, but I wish you said, I'm going to give you 3 mentors at my work or throughout my life that I really think they are good mentors. That one statement, 2 mentors, 3 mentors, 4 mentors, that help us understand, okay, she's going to give us 3, 4, 2 mentors.
All right, yeah, last comment.
I loved your speech. I thought it was really good, hitting on vulnerability and value. You gave us value, so you brought us in by being vulnerable and then sent us off with value takeaways. Similar to what I was saying to Reed, I really think that it would be powerful if you just have these moments of really high energy. And I've seen you do that before, to where maybe when you get fired, you know, you can really go a little over the top and be like, I was fired! You know, just that contrast, or even something about how mentors are beneficial for you. You know, mentors help you reach peak performance, just something really over the top for that speech to kind of spice it up, because you're very smooth, but also almost too smooth to where I found myself just a couple times kind of zoning out and coming back in, to where you would bring us back in with pops like that.
All right, well, we heard some really good comments about your speech. Everyone loved your vulnerability and the content that you had in your message. Adding in a few more pauses scattered throughout the speech, especially at the beginning and the end, and having that little bit of a pop through it is just going to take your speech to the next level. Can't wait to hear what you have to say next.